hopefully this is working. I haven't gone live in a while. And this is going to just be a stream of consciousness like usual, but I just have some things that I really need to say. It's the middle of the night and I just um can't sleep and I just want to communicate some things that have been really nagging at me about this entire fiasco happening around John O'Keefe's murder, all of the players involved, all of the chaos that his murderer, Karen Reed, is still causing. And it is the most deplorable shit that I have seen. And I have watched true crime my entire life. Like, I have watched trials. I have gotten into the nitty gritty of some horrible people. I have never seen the kind of disgusting behavior from not only her, but her elderly parents, particularly her father, and everybody that supports her. Not everybody. I don't want to put a blanket statement on anything, but the people that I interact with, or the people that I try to interact with because they refuse to have civil discourse, are absolutely the most vile human beings that I have had the displeasure of having encountered. And this is the exact reason, all of this shit is the exact reason that I stay as far away from politics as possible. And let me tell you, when I started watching this trial, I had zero intention of actually really watching it. I literally watched opening statements the very first trial and thought, well, I'll just, see what's up. I thought at that point there could be some shenanigans going on. I was curious. But honestly, by day one, by the end of opening statements, and we can all agree that Lally's opening statement was nothing to write home to mother about. Okay. It was very confusing, especially for people that were supposed to know nothing about the case, because I basically knew nothing about the case. And if you're a juror, you should really know nothing about the case. I knew there was a lot of crap going on with public, with Turtle Boy and stuff, but I didn't even pay attention to any of it because I was completely investigating a different case on my own. And I needed a break from that, which is why I watched opening statements in Karen Reed's trial. Anyway, by the end of that, I knew I didn't really know what I was seeing, but I knew I was 95% sure she was guilty, and I was 95% sure that the entire BS story that was out in the public was exactly that, was BS. Okay? And so here's there's a couple things that I need to put out into the universe, and hopefully, I'm hoping that people hear this, that are there and helping and doing things for the O'Keefes and the McCabes and just being supportive, the forensic room ladies, Kate Peter, all of the people there's a lot of support on X. There's a lot of support out there. But the problem is that we don't see the big picture as clearly as I think some of us need to see it. And I'm not saying that I know everything or that I'm right. I'm saying that I really need for people that are really involved in this, and I'm talking specifically to, the family members, the friends, John Jackson, Brendan Kane, the forensic room ladies, all of you beautiful women that have dedicated so much time and energy into seeing this through and fighting for justice. And Kate Peter, I mean, obviously she was the first warrior and she's still there. Okay. The reason that this stream is happening right now, that I'm speaking on this, is that I was listening to, I just saw that Kate did a Spaces, and I only listened to about 20 some minutes. I'm about, I think, 25 minutes into it and stopped because the whole thing was like, I'm just like, okay, I need to put my energy into reaching out right now. So I'm hoping that y'all listen to this and give it some thought, because I don't know what the, like, I don't listen to a lot of Spaces and stuff, so there's probably a lot of things that have happened that I'm unaware of, that I don't really understand why there's been a divide lately with some of the very important people that are here for the right reasons, and that's so concerning to me. Okay. And let me just say this, because I just saw Grant Smith Ellis. I was listening to about 10 minutes of his bullshit. Grant, if you hear this, Hank Brennan would be so disappointed in you. That's all I'm going to say. He would be so disappointed in you. And if he did listen to you, like you think and thought he did, can you imagine the absolute dismay and disgust that he must feel now? I don't know what you've been putting out into the universe. I've heard things, and now, like I said, I just listened to about 10, I don't know how far into his I got, maybe 20 minutes, the whole thing. I was fast forwarding through some of it. I mean, Grant, you are disrespecting Cosgrove. You are disrespecting the O'Keefe family. You are disrespecting everything that's important in this justice system. And you have always stood on what you claim to be integrity, that you are going to put facts out, not spin. I don't understand what in the hell happened to you. I mean, I can take guesses as to your motivations, and I am shocked. I know that people that, have known you for a long time, like Kate Peter and the forensic room ladies and Kevin and all of these people, are probably not shocked. I think they all expected this craps at some point, but I'm shocked because I make my own judgments on people based on what I see and how their actions, okay? And you are doing the right thing. And now you are doing the wrong thing. Evil. Not just wrong. What you are doing is evil. It's evil. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, now, so I was listening to Kate Peter. Kate Peter went to court today, and she is outraged. And I am so I'm getting truth chills all up and down my body just right now talking about this, because I am so freaking happy that you are outraged, Kate, because I have been trying to reach out to y'all. I mean, FKR has always ignored me, but I don't understand. I'm not getting communication from, Kate, you've never really communicated with me on my posts and stuff. I've tried to reach out to you a few times. This is not knocking you. I'm not upset. I'm not saying that you should or that you owe me that. I'm just saying I don't understand why there's been a divide. And I don't understand why people who support the O'Keefes and the McCabes and the Alberts and Carrie Roberts, and I'm going to say, because I still support Michael Proctor, I don't know what's going on with all of his stuff. I don't know, but I have not seen any evidence of actual, behavior that he's being accused of. So, for whatever reason, his whole freaking I think about you all the time, Michael Proctor, if you hear this. I cannot describe to you how horrible I feel for what you have gone through and your family, and I hope that you're okay. I have no idea. I wish that we knew that you were okay. Nobody seems to really know. So, just so you know, people support you and your family. And I say, frickin', you know what I say about your phone that everybody's up in a huff about? Good for you for losing your phone, Michael Proctor. Good for you. Because your civil rights have been violated. Your civil rights have been violated more than anybody's that I've ever seen violated in the criminal justice system. So, I think 42,000 pages or some ridiculous number of text messages that Karen Reed has because Josh Levy and Adam Deutsch and Ann Peruti are corrupt motherfuckers in the federal government committing crimes against their own police officers and victims' families, murder victims' families and friends in their own community. I mean, it is... I am so fucking disgusted by the shit that has gone on in that state. And it continues. And all of these asshole FKR people that are screaming corruption pretend like they don't see the actual corruption. I'm sorry, but that is willful ignorance if you don't see that at this point. It is willful. An intelligent person cannot deny the shit that is in court documents. It is on the record judicial rulings that have come down against Alan Jackson and David Yannetti for fraud on the court, lying to the court, lying to the jury. And now David Yannetti has been, I don't know what the word is, awarded, his firm or him specifically, I don't freaking know, Lawyers of the Year kind of bullshit award. I have no idea what in the hell is going on in that state, but it is deplorable. It is deplorable. This man colluded with the federal government, and they violated citizens and police officers' civil rights while screaming about a murderer's civil rights being violated, which, by the way, they were not. This bitch, and I'm sorry, I'm totally going to go off tonight because I've been storing this shit up for way too long. They had a search warrant to go get her phones. Or seizure warrant to go get her frickin' phones. The bitch locks the police officers out of the house for almost an hour. Her dad comes over with Alan Jackson on the phone. Why was Alan Jackson on Bill Reed's phone and not Karen's phone? Because Karen Reed reset her phones in the time that the police officers were there and informed her that they had a warrant for seizure of her phones. That is a crime. That is destruction of evidence. That is obstruction of justice. And nothing happened. She has not been charged with any of that. There is enough evidence to indict this bitch on so many crimes: witness intimidation, obstruction of justice, jury tampering, colluding with federal government. This is RICO. I have been screaming RICO since about week 1 of my watching this case. People laugh at me. It is not laughable. It is a fucking fact. This is why RICO exists. The way that FKR has operated with the people in power in the federal government and these attorneys that think that the law doesn't apply to them, and apparently nobody is holding them to account. So apparently it doesn't apply to them. Okay? They are acting like the mob, like a literal mob, like the mafia, like the people that RICO was made for. the money, the embezzling, the fraud, the collusion with federal government agents to hire fraudulent experts who literally committed perjury over and over. And the attorneys for Karen Read suborned perjury in a murder trial, which, by the way, is a federal crime that is imprisonment time. Nothing has happened to any of these motherfuckers. And the one fucking guy that just got fired because, you know, we all thought Leah Foley was going to have some integrity. My hope is fading real fast, Leah Foley. You fired him, you kicked his ass out. But what did he do? He literally moved from where he lived, sold his home, moved to Norfolk County to run for the DA's office in the county in which he literally committed crimes to acquit a murderer. Okay? So now he's running for DA in that county, and Leah Foley hasn't said anything. Nobody in the federal government has said, you know what? You're a criminal, and you should not be doing this. And maybe we should protect the public from you. Because you know who his biggest donors are? Karen Read, Bill Read, David Yannetti, Alan Jackson, Alan Jackson's lawyer partners, Worksman, Little. I can't remember. If y'all aren't on X, I can try and, I think I've put some of this stuff together on YouTube. But there is a gal, I think it's a gal, I think it must be a gal because I think her name on X is Girl with an Eagle Eye. She is a girl with an eagle eye. If you are on X, please go follow her. She has so much information about the contributions that have came in to Adam Deutsch. I mean, like, I think it's like 20% from Norfolk County. The biggest donations are from California, I believe. And if not the biggest, the second biggest. And it's all Read people. Okay? And they donate the maximum amounts. And now it's a new quarter, so now they donated the next maximum amount. Excuse me. I mean, the corruption is literally everywhere, and nobody is doing anything about it. Judge Cannoni, who literally allowed this fraud to go on, literally found judicial findings that Alan Jackson and David Yannetti lied to the court repeatedly, intentionally and repeatedly. That's a judicial finding on the record in the public, and nobody is flipping talking about it. Everybody pretends like it didn't happen. It is gaslighting at the highest level. As if Hank lied. Hank's making it up. That didn't really happen. They got it from Alan Jackson. Why did they get it from Alan Jackson? Hank tells you 5 seconds before that if you actually listen. And he says, because we got this information from Leah Foley the next day. Oh, now all of a sudden, Alan Jackson's going to produce some information because he knows that if he doesn't, Leah Foley's going to. And that's going to look worse. He's fucked either way. He's finally cornered. After doing this in broad daylight, I mean, the whole thing has literally been so blatantly obvious. Like, it is an innocence fraud campaign at the highest level, but it is literally the worst one in the history of the world in the sense that they think that people don't see this somehow. Like, because FKR pretends like they don't see it, or they literally are brainwashed and are unable to see facts. I don't know. It's very, it's scary. It's scary, delusional, okay? And so they are in this little echo chamber. The only real lawyer that I totally respect on YouTube is Scott Reich, Crime Talk. And I remember one time he was talking about how when you are going into trial, he's a defense attorney. He knows Karen Read's guilty. He was on her side apparently during the first trial. Flipped after Hank Brennan came on and saw all the bullshit that was going on and decided, oh yeah, she's guilty of sin. And Hank Brennan's the boss, and he proved his case. And if that would have been tried anywhere else in the continental United States of America, she'd be in prison. The only reason she's not is because apparently Massachusetts hates their police officers. They hate cops. Therefore, they think it's okay for a murderer to be out on the streets. That's okay. Just let her go. She's continuously drinking. Continuously. I saw, I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw somebody post that she's driving again. So now she's probably drunk driving again. And if you don't think this bitch is going to do more harm to people, you are sadly mistaken. I really fear for anybody who doesn't see her for who she is. Because if you get into a relationship with this woman, you are likely to end up dead. You will see her rage. You will see it if you don't yet. The woman has no impulse control, and she is a rageful, entitled, spoiled rotten, lives in an echo chamber. Literally, this woman is like 40 some years old and refuses to talk about anything negative. She literally has disconnected with people who cared about her because they were trying to inform her about public opinion about this or what this looks like or this looks bad. She refuses to listen to it. Won't even listen to it. That's how fucking delusional she is. She refuses to. So she literally thinks at this point that the whole world believes her. Now, I know a lot of people in Massachusetts pretend like they do. I refuse to believe that as many people as FKR is comprised of actually believe this. I strongly suspect the majority of these people literally hate police officers, and Boston has a history of a lot of corruption, and there are cases that there's, serious police misconduct. There was not in this case. The officers in this case are not corrupt. Michael Proctor lost his job because of politics. The whole thing is about politics. It's all about politics, which is why there's no pushback anywhere, because it's literally the people who dislike police. I would go so far as to say, and hate is a very strong word, but I truly believe that the majority of these people hate police officers. That is why this bitch is not in prison. That is it. Because if you watched the trial and you listened to the evidence, it is the most cut and dry, obvious murder case in the history of the world, in my opinion. There's literally never been a case that I have watched or seen or followed, and trust me, I've watched a lot, that has had more definitive, objective evidence against the murder defendant. It's literally, Hank proved when this bitch murdered him, down to about a 7-second window, if I remember correctly. Tell me when that's ever happened. Ever. Even since. I truly don't think it ever has. I was listening to a YouTube last night. This lady, if you don't follow her, her name is Criminally Obsessed on YouTube. Amazing journalist, integrity. Actually, that makes me think of something. Okay, but she is amazing, professional. I didn't follow the Murdaugh trial. It was obvious to me that he did that as well. And I literally stay away from politics. I had no idea how political this freaking case was, or I would have never, ever even started getting involved, because that's it. It's politics. It's literally politics. It's politics at the core. And then all of these other selfish reasons that all of these other people are involved, like the media is huge financial benefits. Trust me when I tell you, huge financial benefits to support this murderer. Okay, so I am clearly venting. Anyway, this criminally obsessed lady, I'm sorry, I can't think of her actual name right now, but she's awesome. And she was talking, or I don't know how old this was, I can't remember. But she did an interview with the police officers in the Murdaugh trial. And I should actually do a little video on this because it sounds very similar. Apparently, and again, I didn't watch that trial, so I'm literally just talking from what they said on this podcast. And apparently, the police officers were getting attacked right and left, again, by these experts that hadn't even read their full reports and were saying things like, well, they should have put on booties in the crime scene. Well, booties are made of paper. And the expert got up there and definitively said, this is basically what Karen Read wanted to do with, dirty FBI agents that were going to come in and say, this is completely not protocol, bullshit, da-da-da-da, and completely ignore all of the circumstances that were happening in the middle of the biggest nor'easter in, I don't know, frickin' decades, if not ever, up there. Yeah, their crime scene tape didn't stay up. So they should, not charge Karen Read with murder because it was blowing, gusting winds at like 40 miles an hour. So the crime scene tape couldn't stay up. So they're corrupt. And then, they were trying to find evidence and they used their brains and they got a leaf blower, which is ingenious. And even federal agents that actually did the audit on this investigation said it was ingenious and said, you know what? This is a technique that investigators use in Alaska all the time because it works very well. They needed to secure evidence. And if they didn't figure something out, that evidence would have been lost. But they want to cry and whine about solo cups and all this crap. They didn't even use the blood. They didn't use it because they figured out that it was John O'Keefe. Like, once they figured out what was going on, it was John O'Keefe's blood. So, cry about solo cups. It wasn't even evidence in the trial. You assholes that are completely violating justice because you're selfish assholes that are out for money, political or personal fame, fortune. Just, it's disgusting. This world is literally in spiritual warfare, and I saw it coming, and this case literally exposes all the disgustingness that is happening in the world. Like, this isn't just, this isolated thing. This just happens to be the thing that I'm freaking irate about because I can't believe the shit that I've seen the entire time I've been following this case. Like I said, gaslighting at the highest levels from the most powerful people down to the minions. It's absolutely disgusting. And it's, like I said, it's so obvious. Like, it's like they literally lie with straight faces to the world, and we're supposed to just nod and say yes like sheeple when it's so obvious. Like, it's so obvious that they're lying. And they're just like, no, this is the way it is because I said so. And I'm Alan Jackson and I'm Dan Wolf from Arca. And because I said it's inconsistent, that means he was not hit by a vehicle. That means Karen Read didn't do it. Fuck all the other evidence. Let's not look at objective data. Let's not look at all the technical electronical shit that we have, black box information that we rely on for plane crashes. But Karen Read's supporters don't want to, they literally don't even talk about it. Never address it. Techstream experts, ARCA, didn't address it, didn't look at it. It's, and how they were allowed to not look at that and still testify, that blows my mind. How are they not required to look at the thing that they are experts in? How is that not? I'm not a lawyer, so that's like a legitimate question. I have no idea how that's not absolutely required. Like, what? You're TechStream experts. That's literally on your website. But you refuse to look at TechStream data. And you know it exists. And we know that you know because you testified in 2 trials and it was brought up in both. Plus, you're TechStream experts, and it was a car collision that you're investigating. So you just decided that it's inconsistent with normal head-on collisions. Of course it is. It wasn't a head-on collision. It was a clip of a bitch driving in reverse at 24 fucking miles per hour. So, yeah, it's going to be inconsistent. That shouldn't shock anybody. Literally, it shouldn't surprise anybody. Okay, I got to get back on topic here. All y'all that listen to me know all of this already. I'm just totally venting, so fast forward to here. All right, Kate Peter, Forensic Room Ladies, I'm legitimately reaching out to you, asking you why. What is happening with the whole Roberta Glass situation? And I'm going to explain where I'm coming from with that, because I don't understand why y'all have done really atrocious. I mean, the behavior, I feel, and this doesn't mean that I dislike you as human beings. I'm not attacking you as people. I'm literally reaching out to you because I've been trying to reach out to you and I'm not getting any interaction, and I don't understand it. You all obviously know how much I support the O'Keefes and how much I support all of you and how much I appreciate everything that you're doing. I mean, I've literally told y'all that for years now. Okay, so again, I don't listen to all of this stuff, so I don't know. There's a lot that I probably don't know, but here's where I'm coming from with Roberta Glass. I found Roberta Glass in the midst of the Karen Reed trial. She was between Kate Peter, Masshole Mafia, Twisted Tragedy, Kevin with Yellow Cottage Tail, and Roberta Glass. Those were like the 4 places that I could find. I was never on social media, y'all. I hate social media. And this, where I'm at right now, up at whatever time it is in the morning, pissed off about Karen Reed and the corruption in Massachusetts, is exactly why I didn't ever have social media, because it literally destroys people's sanctuaries. It destroys peace, and nothing that I have done in the past 3 years seems to have helped anything. And I'm not saying that I'm, should be congratulated. I'm just saying I have put in a lot of work trying to get the truth out there because I care about these families. That's the only reason that I'm still here, because I cannot believe what's happening and it's continuing to happen. And nothing has been, like, literally nobody with power is doing anything. And again, it's so obvious. It's like so obvious, Like, it doesn't get more obvious. This corruption, it's happening literally in plain sight, and all of them are being called out, and none of them respond to any questions. John O'Keefe's family reached out to Josh Levy, and the witnesses, as far as I understand, also tried to reach out to the Massachusetts DOJ during the first trial, second trial, and they never took their calls, responded to their emails, took any action to protect them from the terrorism that Turtle Boy, Karen Reed, Alan Jackson, and David Yannetti were puppeteering. And they knew that. And they literally, Adam Deutsch and Josh Levy, used Turtle Boy News blogs in the grand jury that they had to investigate the investigation based on cherry-picked evidence from the murderer only. They wouldn't even take evidence from the district attorney's office or the Mass State Police. They would not take it. How obvious is that? Like, you cannot get more obvious. We have text messages and emails between all of these assholes saying, Josh Levy saying, don't tell the media that we're in communication. He knows what he's doing is literally a crime. And if they know that they're in communication with John O'Keefe's murderer and her team, but not John O'Keefe's family and friends, and people that are being terrorized because they want justice for their loved one, they don't get return phone calls. They don't get interaction. They don't get communication. Nothing. Still, crickets. Adam Deutsch is running in Norfolk County. Still won't answer questions to the O'Keefe family, to anybody. We all have posed them. None of them are answered. And I don't understand how this son of a bitch literally has the balls. Like, where is your self-respect? Like, it's so disgusting to me. Karen Read got away with murder, and as far as I can tell, she's gonna get away with witness intimidation, destruction of evidence, jury tampering. Every crime that she's committed, doesn't seem like anything's gonna happen. And the people in power that helped her get away with murder at the highest level, federal government employees in the DOJ, which, let me remind you, is literally the power that they hold is right below the sitting president. That's how much power a DOJ office has, okay? And these are the people that helped Karen Read get away with murder and are ignoring to this day the victim's family and the people being terrorized by this mafia. It's literally a mafia in Massachusetts. It's RICO, and nothing's being done. Okay, so here's I get so upset. So here's the thing. I found Roberta Glass, and she taught me, and this is not like I don't know her, I'm not in communication with her, but just by watching and listening to her and her describing what is happening, I now know what innocence fraud is. And that's exactly what this is. And like she said, it's the first, as far as I can tell also, and as far as she can tell, it's the first one in America that's happened real time. The only other one that's happened real time was Amanda Knox. But she was in Italy. But the PR campaign was in America because her family's in America, and her father hired an attorney, or hired PR, just like Karen Read had PR in Massachusetts, which is the same frickin' PR company that the foreman of the jury was in when he did the first interview. I don't know if it was I think it was his first interview. He was in the same PR company, and I'm sorry, the company's name is eluding me at this point. Reagan Communications, I think it's called. That's the PR company that Karen Read has probably paid millions to. And it's the same company that the jury foreman was sitting in when he did an interview after he acquitted Killer Karen Read. They're literally just doing it right in our faces. It's like they know that they're protected. And this is the part that scared me this entire time. It seems to me they are moving like they are protected, and they know for a fact that nothing is going to happen to them. That is how they have moved in this entire thing. Alan Jackson, David Unetti, Karen Read, Turtle Boy, the jurors. This is a cabal of powerful people, and the people that are basically, I'm assuming, being hired, I have no doubt in my mind that jury was bought and paid for. There were at least, I'm thinking, 2, if not 3 jurors that were bought and paid for, probably planted somehow. I'm not a conspiracy nut at all, but the way that this all went down, there is no way that 12 objective people can come in, look at the evidence, hear the evidence that was presented, and acquit this bitch. There is no way. It's impossible. It is absolutely impossible. And the jurors' talking points were literally defense talking points that were not in trial. These jurors were talking about things that were not evidence in trial. Paula Prado talking about the garage and the house and the basement and all this crap. That was not evidence in trial. Yannetti made sure that the jury heard something. That's one thing Judge Cannoni finally put her foot down on and said, no, there's no evidence. And this is ridiculous. I'm looking at a picture of paint on a cement floor, and you want to tell me that this is evidence of a murder in a garage? Seriously? How brain dead are we? Are we robots? Is this literally what humankind is coming to? Because this literally has scared the shit out of me. It continues to scare the shit out of me. And I don't live there. But I can tell you this, if I did, I would have frickin' hightailed it out of there when this crap was going on, when it started, because there's no way. You want to talk about not trusting your government? Yeah, the people that have been in cahoots with Karen Reed and Alan Jackson and David Yannetti, yeah, they can't be trusted. That government is fucking corrupt. There's no question. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious. Okay, anyway, so, and some of you listening to this, I know Amanda Knox has a lot of supporters out there, so I'm just saying, please, for the love of God, listen to Roberta's podcast. Listen to other cases that she has presented to call out this innocence fraud. It is so important that y'all understand what this is. And it seems like because she is... Look, here's the thing. I know that this started because she was watching some of your earlier videos and she was doing reactions and she was saying, listen, you cannot do, you've got to fight innocence fraud with the absolute truth. It cannot be wishy-washy. It cannot be guessy. If you have weird shit that you're worried is going to get out there, put it out there, because it's coming out, because you know Karen Reed is going to put it out there. She does not give a shit about anybody, and nobody in her orbit gives a shit about anybody but themselves. And if that's not obvious to y'all yet, you really need to take a break from social media, spend some time in nature, spend some time with your higher power, your spiritual self, and come back objective and look at what is happening. Because here's the message that I want to get out to people like Kate Peter, Kevin Lanahan, the Forensic Room Ladies, Tuesday Gazette, Julie Carr, Carrie Lama, Mama Lama, the O'Keefes, Proctors, John, all of the people that are fighting for justice. Okay, this is what I beg of you. This is my message. Please listen to Roberta's reasoning for why she was doing that. She is not doing that to be mean. She is not doing that to be a mean girl. She is not doing that to, I don't know, disrespect you in any way. She is doing that because she cares about justice for victims. That is what her entire podcast she's dedicated her life to this, fighting innocence fraud. That is what she does. She is not in this for clicks and views. She is not in this to be popular. She is not in this to make friends with people. She is in this as an objective person who understands what innocence fraud is, how it is done, and probably, in my opinion, is the best person to help people that are trying to fight this. And giving them, she should be your number one person. You should have her on your shoulder when you're doing things to help the O'Keefes and the McCabes and the Alberts and the Proctors and the Carrie Roberts and, all of these people that have been terrorized. Because, I see comments about, like, people are like, this is just mean, or, I thought you were on my side, or, why are you doing this? Why are you claiming that why are you claiming Paul O'Keefe is lying? She is not claiming that Paul O'Keefe is lying. And this is why I'm so sad about this disconnect, is because I don't know why you're taking that defensive stance with her. I get that maybe you didn't like the way that she presented it, but why are you not coming at, like, that's not the way I want to say it, because I don't want to say coming at, but coming at the situation from a place of objectivity and sincere desire to learn from somebody who has 10 years or more of experience fighting this. She thought Amanda Knox was likely innocent for a long time. I don't really know where I don't know if I know what case she started on, but I feel like that might have been one of the first ones, because she got a letter from friends of Amanda Knox when she worked for Oprah, and it was very convincing, and the story they were putting out was very convincing, much like Karen Reed's bullshit propaganda PR shit that she put on in the public for I don't know how long this is going on. I've lost track. Years, 3 years, 4 years. I don't know where we're at. But at least a good year before the first trial, and then a whole nother year before the second trial. Total lies, total propaganda, 100% bullshit. Well, I shouldn't say 100%, because there's always some truth in every lie. Okay, so the point is that, some of the things that I've seen, some of the people that I respect and look up to that have been fighting for the O'Keefes say to Roberta, whether directly or indirectly, is like, accusing her of accusing people of, like, the Paul O'Keefe or Carrie Roberts or different people in this situation of lying, or, it's like a defensive posture. And I am imploring you all to please take a step back, take a breath, take a beat, and know in your heart what Roberta Glass's whole entire purpose is. Her whole entire purpose is fighting innocence fraud. So why would she accuse victims of lying? Think about that. You all are intelligent people that I'm talking to, incredibly intelligent people. You all know what you've been put through for fighting for justice, for the chaos that you deal with in social media every day, fighting against this fraud. Roberta's been doing that for 10 years. I literally have, like, tried to walk away from this. I have no idea how many times now, because it is taking a toll on my spiritual self. Like, it is not good for my mental health, my spiritual health. Like, it's so disheartening to see all of this and be so powerless, to see the only people in power that are actually touching human American ears and eyes are putting out a murder's propaganda, and they know it's propaganda, and they know she's guilty, and they do the same shit with people like the Menendez brothers and Amanda Knox and the West Memphis Three and Stephen Avery. I thought Stephen Avery was innocent. Like, I was totally sold on that for a long time. I felt a lot of sympathy for the Menendez brothers. I look at the evidence now after going through it and being a wiser person. It's like these kids premeditated buying shotguns and literally walking into their home while their parents are eating ice cream And pulling that trigger, I don't even know how many times one of the brothers went back and reloaded. And people want these kids out, these kids. They want these adult men to be free. Think about that. Think about being, I don't know how old they were, 18 to 21-ish, somewhere in that age range at the time. Being in college, you're not living with your parents, so regardless of the toxicity of whatever was, which I happen to believe everything that they said was bullshit based on the evidence, and also based on, once again, their attorney's history. You have to look at the history of attorneys. If you look at Alan Jackson's tactics, it is scorched earth. He literally destroys victims as if they're not already victims. He literally feeds on it. Think about what kind of person feeds on that, exalts themselves, feels powerful because they're destroying victims of murder, of rape, of basically terroristic acts. This is who this man is, and that's his tactics. And if you look at his history with the Weinstein case, Kevin Spacey's case, this is what he does. This is what he does. And people think he's a wonderful attorney. He's so good. No, he's not good. Because if he was good, he would be presenting evidence in a court of law and not out running PR for millions of dollars and starting a YouTube channel and, being on YouTube begging for money, starting fundraising through his law firm for a murderer. That's not a good attorney. That's a criminal. He's a criminal that has a law degree and nobody's holding him accountable for committing criminal acts. That is literally what is happening, and it could not be more obvious. Like, I literally, if you don't see it, I don't know how you don't see it. You haven't looked, I guess, or you don't want to see it. Okay, so point being is that Roberta Glass, every case that she does, she gets obviously people like FKR people, okay? She's talked about the people that supported Stephen Avery and stuff. Vicious. So do you think that, like I said, I've tried to walk away several times, because it's so, I'm a very empathetic person, and so it is really hard on my soul. This is the same reason I could never, I was always very interested in psychology, but there's no way that I could be a therapist or a psychologist because I wouldn't be able to stay objective. I would care too much. It would be unprofessional how much I would care about my clients. Like, I would want to protect them. Like, that's just my nature, and that's not. So to me, I know I can't do that because I know very well what I would end up doing. And it would not be good for anybody. It would not be good for my clients for me to be unprofessional in that way, but that is just my nature, okay? But Roberta has built up an ability to be objective and to understand she's going to get all this negative energy coming at her, and she's able to handle it. God bless her, because I don't see anybody else doing it. Innocence Fraud Watch on X is the only other person I see doing it. And people constantly accuse her as if it would be a negative thing. Like, if she did have a blog, why would she hide that? Like, I don't even understand why y'all accuse her of that. Like, it would be, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. It's not the same person. And it's not hard to figure out if you look into it. So I don't get it. And they're the only two people that I know of that fight this constantly. And I don't understand why people that support the O'Keeffes and all of the other victims of Karen Read don't want to understand where Roberta's coming from and automatically assume that she's attacking them. What would she get out of that? How would that benefit her? Why would she want to make enemies with the people she's trying to help? I don't get this, okay? Let me tell you a little bit about myself and where my perspective comes from. I'm an artist. I'm I'm I have several degrees in various professions because I love learning. And if I can, I will stay in college my entire life. I mean, I work as well, but I love learning, okay? And so to me, when I don't know if I've said my profession or if I want to, but I beg my supervisors for feedback. Like, and it's not, I don't want you to kiss my ass. I want you to find things that I can improve because, I'm pretty self-reflective by nature, so I can figure out for the most part, but an objective person who literally it's their job to, figure out what people are good at, not so good at, need improvement, all of these things. That is an asset at the highest level. And so, there was one post, this brings me back to a post somebody on X made about, God, what was it? They said something, and I can't even remember, so it's not even going to make sense. But basically, I responded to this person, and I was giving this person deference and saying, fair question, and, it was a respectful exchange both ways. But then I think it was Mama Llama, saw the thread and posted something from this person that was absolutely, and again, I can't even remember what it was, but it was just like instant, like this person is not even being genuine. They're totally, because I think it was a pretty egregious post that they had made about, I don't know if it was one of the ladies that are fighting for the O'Keeffes or one of the McCabes I can't remember what it was, but it was a vile post. And so it was very clear that this person was being completely disingenuous. And I remember saying something to the effect of, I thought you were a genuine person. And clearly, I mean, this is pretty obviously in my face, not. But I give people deference until they prove me wrong. Okay, so then, but the other thing is, I was posting one weekend a few things about like Scanlon and things, just trying to correct some disinformation. And there were a couple ladies that interact with me on X that gave me feedback that were like, I would appreciate this more, or this is difficult for me to listen to, or da 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 da. And I'm like, great, thank you. I love that feedback. And it was kind of like they were very guarded, like, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, and da da, like very nice about it. I was like, no, I totally thank you for the feedback. Like, I love feedback. If I am doing something in a way that is not being received well by the people I'm trying to help, I don't know that unless you tell me that. It's like, if you don't communicate with your husband or wife and you expect them to be doing one thing or the other and they're not, but they don't know that because you've never communicated that, but you think that they're just supposed to know it through osmosis, this is a very huge problem in marriages, with relationships in general. People have expectations based on their own person. Well, I would do this and I would do that, and so therefore I think that you should just understand. And trust me, I'm very guilty of this. This is why I know this very well, because I have always, it's one of my biggest character flaws. I have very high expectations of other people because I have very high expectations of myself. I think I'm a very good communicator. I mean, there's always going to be room for improvement, but I have worked on my communication basically my whole life. One of my minor degrees is in speech communications. I really appreciate good communication, because any relationship is going to, whether it be online, a husband, a friend, a dog, a child, it's going to benefit from you knowing yourself well enough to understand where your strengths and weaknesses are, and to want feedback from your loved ones or people that are fighting for the same thing you're fighting for. So this is a very long-winded way of saying, in my opinion, and again, I don't know Roberta, I just know, and trust me, during the trial and stuff, there were days I couldn't listen to her, not because she was being mean, but because what she was saying, I couldn't take. Like, I was to the point where I'm like, how? Like, how can this bitch not be convicted? And Roberta was very clear that innocence fraud is very strong and powerful, and she may not be convicted. I mean, and it was very hard to listen to, because I could not accept that a jury of 12 people could do that to a family that they've been staring at their pain for 2 months or whatever the fuck long it was. And they did. They shit all over them. And they were proud of it. And they went out in public and talked about it. And they went out in public and shit on John O'Keefe and shit on the O'Keefe family, and they're still online calling the McCabes and Alberts derogatory names and ridiculous names like the McAlberts. These are jurors in a murder trial behaving this way. These are the people that acquitted killer Karen Reed. Anyway, my point is, I get that sometimes it's hard to listen to because you don't want to believe that that's true. You don't want to believe it. You don't want to lose the hope of humanity. You don't want to lose the hope of justice for the O'Keefe family, who so richly deserve it. You don't want to hear the negativity. I get all that. Like, trust me. But look at what happened. Who was the only correct one? Roberta Glass. Why? Because she has watched and fought this fraud for at least 10 years. And again, I just found her during the first trial, so I've watched and listened to a lot of her things, but there's so much content on there. When I found out, I'm going to start crying. This is how crazy I am with, like, I have so much deep hope and desire for this family, the O'Keefe family, John O'Keefe's family, and John O'Keefe's loved ones, to find justice. And when I found out that the forensic room struck Roberta Glass twice, and her content got taken off of YouTube, this is why I haven't spoken on it until now, because I'm like, I have to wait, because I'm upset. I'm upset, and I know I'm upset, and I don't want to make the situation worse. And I certainly don't want the ladies to think that I'm coming at them in any way, or don't appreciate them and what they're doing. But man, ladies, I don't get that. I don't get it. They're giving you, Roberta Glass is giving you feedback to help. To help. This is why bosses give you feedback. They give you reviews to help, to make you better at what you are doing. It is not, this is why it's shocking to me, because y'all are not like, millennials where you just think that you should be entitled to a gold star for participating. I know that you don't think that way. So I don't understand where the mentality comes of we can't give constructive criticism. constructive criticism is one of the biggest gifts in life. It's literally a gift. People don't give you, in my mind, okay, again, this is my perspective. And again, I'm an artist, I'm a professional, I am somebody who has always been obsessed with learning. That's probably not the right word, obsessed, but like I crave learning. I love learning. It feeds my soul. I want to know better, be better, do better, help better. All of the, like, I'm never going to be better if I don't have people in my life that love me enough to tell me the truth. Like, people that love you, and I'm not saying Roberta Glass loves us. I'm just saying this is, in my mind, the highest form of love. Like, it really is, because it's difficult. It's difficult to give. Sometimes it is difficult to receive, apparently. I mean, we all struggle with receiving it at certain times, but I don't understand where the whole immediate jump to conclusion that she's accusing y'all of lying and and Paul O'Keefe of lying, and you're striking her. And do you know how much, like, you're by doing that, it affects all the victims that she's trying to help. That's her whole purpose, is helping victims. She wants the O'Keefes to get help. I hope and pray to God that the O'Keefe's attorneys reach out to Roberta Glass and they take advice from her. She doesn't want to be your friends, as far as I understand this. Again, I'm not speaking for Roberta, but this is my perspective on the subject. She's not in this to make friends and get content and clickbait shit. I'm sure she's had many behind-the-scenes conversations with people that we don't know about, because she seems to be a lot like me in that way. If you want me to be a vault about something and you want my advice on something, I will be a vault. Now, I'm not going to hide crimes for you or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, as a human being, which these people are victims, so, they may have been scared to reach out to a lot of people for obvious reasons. She's not doing this. And just like Kate, you said today on the spaces that I was listening to, that you didn't record this whole interaction. Potentially, you didn't say it this way, but in my mind, I'm thinking it might have been for the very reason to prove that you didn't do it for clickbait. You didn't do it for content. You're not televising, you know what I mean? Like, because you don't want people to think that's why you're doing it. I get that. But, I mean, honestly, you know how many times I've literally thought of driving to Massachusetts to do things like this, to literally go to news stations and I mean, I've called and emailed many of them, trust me, but to actually go to these places, like outside of the courthouse when the press is standing there, I would not have stopped. I didn't listen to your whole spaces, so I don't know what came of that, but it seems like, from what I listened to the first 25 minutes, I don't think there was an actual answer that the press gave you. I wouldn't have allowed them to stonewall me. If I were there, if I had the luxury of being there, which it's kind of an oxymoron because there's no way in hell I want to live or be in Massachusetts. I used to want to visit Boston. I had people tell me that was people that live out of the country that visited all 50 states, like they were senior citizens, and that was, once they retired, they came to the United States and visited every summer, visited a few states until they had seen all of them. And I asked them what was their favorite. Boston was at the top. After this, there's no way in hell. It's probably very beautiful, which is why they loved it. But no way. But my point is that I wouldn't have allowed them to stonewall me. I would have stood there and literally had conversations until we got to a bottom line on the topic. Why are you not asking her questions? Why are you not asking her the tough questions? Why are you not pointing out the corruption that's literally been addressed in a court of law? There are court documents, documented evidence of Alan Jackson and David Yannetti having communications with Turtle Boy about what he's saying on his disgusting podcast YouTube bullshit, calling the O'Keefes all sorts of vile names, all of the witnesses, they're all murderers. We've been through the gamut. It changes with the weather who the actual murderer is every day, so who knows, but the attorneys that are literally took an oath to uphold the law, to bring justice, fight vigorously for your clients, but do not break the law in order to do it. Do not hire people like Turtle Boy, Melanie Little, Lawyer these people with no ethics. Pay off the local media or get into bed with them in such a way that y'all are going to benefit, which is probably the more likely thing that happened, because they all made money off this. And this is why I'm begging y'all to listen to Roberta Glass's, pick a different case and listen, learn from her. This is why the media is complicit. And this is why, Kate, I am speaking directly to you right now, because you are pissed at the media. Trust me, I have been pissed at the media since the very first time I saw anything on the news after I saw opening statements. The disgusting way that they handled this, which again, they know she murdered him. I mean, let's be honest. They know that. But what I have learned from listening to Roberta is this is how it works. They all benefit. They get something out of this. They're getting clicks. They're getting views. They're making hand over fist money. They are advancing their political agendas. They are getting traction in their media careers. Fame, fortune, all of the normal suspects of why people commit crimes, why people engage in fraud, why people do unethical things. It's politics, money, power. I'm going to add fame in there, because a lot of people this is what scares me about humanity. I think that I would like to see some research on this, but based on what I'm seeing, it seems like we are becoming a society of sociopaths as a result of, in large part, social media. We're not engaged, and I've watched this happen. I literally called this out when I was 20, somewhere between 25 and 30 in college. I wrote a whole thesis paper on the subject because I knew it was going to happen, because I saw it already. And I'm a person, I had a flip phone for as long as I possibly could, because I don't want a phone to do 50,000 things. I want a phone to be a phone. I've been a person like that my whole life. If I want to have friends, I want to go have coffee with my friends. I don't want to sit on social media and talk and call that my friends. Nobody knows me on social media. Nobody knows my struggles, my strengths, my weaknesses. Nobody cares about me on social media. I mean, let's be honest. They might care a little, but they don't. I mean, in fact, I shouldn't say that, because I had a wonderful gal. I think she lives in Canada. She was apparently a fan of my little YouTube channel here when I first started, and I was struggling with health issues, and I hadn't done a show in a while, and she reached out to me, and it was so sweet. She was seriously concerned about me, making sure that I was okay. Those are the kind of people that restore my faith in humanity. And those are the kind of people that I know Kevin Lanahan is. Tuesday Gazette, Mama Llama, Julie Carpenter. I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of people, but I'm just naming the people that have been fighting for this. And Roberta Glass. Okay? So my whole ask, and again, y'all don't owe me anything, but I'm just saying, this is for the O'Keefes. I'm not asking you this for myself. I'm not begging you to start objectively looking at who Karen Read is. I've been putting out content trying to get some interaction from y'all about why you continually make excuses for Karen. You say things like, well, this is normal behavior. People have been in fights. I mean, you get drunk, you fight with your boyfriend, accidents happen. I have begged y'all to explain to me how you think somebody who is driving from a bar, I don't know if you saw my brother counsel thing that I just did, but if you didn't, please go watch that. It's like a 6-minute thing on X, and I'm gonna actually kind of do a little bit more on YouTube just because I don't know about, I didn't talk in it or anything, so I need to put some for copyright issues, but it's very important because, I mean, Brother Counsel, who is an ardent FKR supporter, who is a very intelligent person, who has to know that she's guilty. I mean, I cannot believe that he doesn't know that based on the evidence, but his whole argument is like, well, Arca says so, and Dr. Lapa said so, so that's reasonable doubt, so she didn't do it. When there's objective data proving down to a 10-second window when this happened. So he literally says he's talking to Mark Betterow about a conversation that he had with Big Case Mike, which Big Case Mike, we all love him. But again, he's another attorney that won't call out the attorneys for committing fraud on the court, for lying to the court, for engaging in terroristic activity with their client, for literally committing crimes to get their client off. He won't call them out on that. He'll get close, but he's an attorney, so attorneys know the deal. They're not going to shit on other attorneys too much because there's a code. It's like being in a frat, it seems. That's what it seems to me. I mean, this is why I couldn't be in a lot of professions, because I don't put up with shit like that. I'm going to call you out if you're being a dick. Like, if you're breaking the law and you took an oath to uphold the law, no, that doesn't fly with me. You don't get a pass. If y'all haven't seen my little AJ clip where that's in either his opening or closing statement. You don't get a free pass just because you have a law degree. No, you're committing crimes. You should be charged with those crimes. And you should go to prison, quite frankly. You should all be in prison. Now, do I see that ever happening in Massachusetts? No. But I see it happening in other places when people break the law. Prince Andrew just got arrested, apparently. I haven't really looked into that, but so that's good news. I mean, people are starting to be held accountable. I wonder if anybody in America will, though. All the powerful people in America. Anyway, it's 3:00 in the morning. I'm babbling on, but I'm trying to figure out where I just was. So these wonderful people. So I was kind of in two different directions. So the Mark Betterow Brother Counsel thing was, Brother Counsel was explaining to Mark Betterow. Well, Big Mike's, he didn't say Big Mike, but his position was that, you have this black box data from the car, you have the shards of taillight in John's clothes, you have her driving forward 30 feet, you have her then stopping and putting her vehicle in reverse, and then you have her intentionally reversing at speeds up to 24 miles per hour. And when that 10-second window of data stopped recording, her accelerator was still increasing. She didn't touch the brake. She did not slow down. She literally was going 24 miles per hour, 75% throttle, and both the throttle and the acceleration were rising as that window of data stopped recording. And Brother Counsel said, so, I mean, I don't understand these people that, say that, they overcharged her and that they should have convicted her of manslaughter but not murder. Because if you believe that, he literally caveats this with, if you believe that, and if you want to think Karen Read is guilty, this is his verbiage, then I don't understand how you don't find that intentional. This is like one of the biggest FKR up her ass defenders in social media, an attorney, saying this. If you believe that, that is intent. This is what I've been trying to ask Kate and Tuesday Gazette and Mama Llama and Julie Carpenter. How do you get there? And Kevin, the one time I was on with Kevin, I think it was like a members only thing, I think he got really irritated with me because I came in really passionate. I was really excited. I was so happy to, it was like right after Hank, like when we first saw Hank in action and he was calling out all kinds of shit. And I was like, he is a godsend. I can already tell he is a powerhouse. He didn't follow through on some of the shit though. And then Judge Cannoni blocked him on a lot of other stuff. So, I literally wanted to reach out to him before the trial and ask him if he could bring in a psychologist or some sort of, mental health person to talk about domestic violence, to talk about the psychology of Karen Read's rage and her clear. I mean, I personally, based on the checklist of psychopathy, believe full-heartedly that she is a fucking psychopath. A lot of people want to call her a sociopath. It seems, again, they're giving deference to her. I don't understand it. If that behavior is not psychopathic, I literally don't know what is. Like, if you go into a home and stab somebody and they bleed out, I'm sure that you would call that person a psychopath. But if you ram into somebody intentionally, like, you cannot deny that that was intentionally. She drove forward 30 feet. She stopped her car. She put it in reverse. And she flew backwards at 24 miles per hour, 75 feet at the time that it stopped recording, still going. And remember that steering wheel, that whatever, 0.08 that Trooper Paul talked about? That is a clear sign. And I don't know why Welcher didn't talk about that. That is a clear sign of a pedestrian strike. That 0.08% decrease in speed and the whatever degree it was of the steering wheel. And that wasn't brought up in the second trial. That data is indicative. It is consistent with, in your fucking legal terms, a pedestrian strike. I don't understand why that wasn't. I think Kevin said that Welcher didn't agree with that or something. Like, I don't get it. That seems to me like that's pretty fucking definitive. So I don't understand why that wouldn't be agreed upon. But anyway, so I've been asking y'all. I've been putting out videos begging for engagement. Please. And I appreciate y'all. You know that I'm fighting right there with you. I want to understand your mentality. Because if the people that know she's guilty are not pissed off like I am and pissed off like Kate was tonight, finally, or whenever she did that Spaces, I think it was tonight because I think it was after, I don't know which hearing it was. I think it was today's. I don't know. I can't be sure. Yes, I think it was today's. So She was finally pissed off. She's finally calling out Karen for exactly who she is. She's finally saying she's a piece of shit. She's not, in what I heard tonight, she was not making excuses for her. And she was pissed off. She's pissed off that she's not being held accountable. And that is what I have been wanting to hear from y'all for years. And like I said before, when I went on with Kevin, I was saying, like, help me understand how you don't find intent in going forward, stopping your car, putting it into reverse, and slamming on the accelerator 75%, going 24 miles per hour, obviously knowing you hit something. She wants to say something. You know you hit John. Because, like I've said, back out of your driveway and bump, put your garbage can down at the end of the driveway and pretend like, oh, let me just go 0.5 miles per hour into this and see if you feel that. You'll feel it, you'll hear it, and you'll know. And Karen Reed herself in, I think it was the ID doc, said, I mean, we all heard it, the voicemail when she gets back to John's. We hear, well, it was a butt dial, ironically, from Karen Reed. Huh, interesting. But it recorded the beeps in the car when she's getting too close to the wall. It recorded beep, 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 beep. That's how she knows where to stop. She literally does that in the interview. So, I mean, if that's going to be, like, there's so many reasons that you have to conclude. I mean, you can say you don't know for sure, but again, that's like FKR mentality. And that's why I was getting frustrated with Kevin getting frustrated with me. I got the feeling that you were frustrated with me, Kevin, if you listen to this. I don't know if you were, but it seemed to me like you were frustrated with my enthusiasm about, like, what I was finally starting to feel hope. I was finally starting to, feel like we were getting traction. I thought that because you were such an ardent supporter that you would see the evidence, that, like the way that I do, that it's pretty fucking obvious that that's intentional. Nobody drives 24 miles per hour in reverse unintentionally for over 75 feet. I mean, find me another person that's went 24 miles per hour in reverse and we'll talk. And why do you guys avoid that? Why do you guys avoid that? Why don't you admit? I know that you have to know, but is it just because you just, like, and this was the problem with all these talking head attorneys, even if they knew she was guilty, almost every single one of them said, well, she was overcharged. How is that overcharging? That is the definition of murder. And John didn't have the luxury of bleeding out in 10 minutes. He was lying there for 6 hours alone, freezing cold in a fucking blizzard. Think about that. Think about that. That's worse than getting shot in the head. In my mind, I would rather be shot in the head, I guess is a better way to say that. I mean, seriously. She tortured him. And she brags about it, y'all. She brags about it. She feels like God because she can get away with murder. And Kate said she saw the seeding of Karen Reed's rage if she was asked a question that she didn't like, that she didn't approve. And we all see that. Tell me how she's not a fucking psychopath. Tell me how that act was not intentional. She intended that act. Whether she intended to kill him, probably not. But she intended to teach John a lesson. She intended to get her power and control back. And she sure as shit did, because a good man is dead, and she's still walking around terrorizing the community. So my big ask is, please do not take constructive criticism. This, for example, what I'm doing right now, this is not me. I'm not being vindictive. I'm not being mean. I'm not saying the things I'm saying for whatever kind of weird thing. Like, I am not doing this for clicks and views. If you notice, I have a tiny channel. This isn't the whole, I didn't have any social media until all of this shit exploded, and not a single person on social media would talk to me about the facts of the case, because they were all FKR, and they blocked me, muted me, erased my comments. Just, it was so, like, frustrating that I just was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start my own channel and talk, because nobody's talking. Maybe somebody will engage with me. They all refuse to this day to engage with me. Samantha Beningo, I don't know how many times I've reached out to you, don't even acknowledge my existence. Brother Counsel refuses. I'm not an attorney. If you're not an attorney, you're not good enough to have a conversation with Brother Counsel, because apparently attorneys are the only intelligent people in the world. And because nobody that's not an attorney, if you're not an attorney, you can't understand the law. Yeah, you can, Brother Counsel. You can understand it enough to have an intellectual understanding of what the fuck is happening. Do I know statutes? No. Do I understand what the definition of second-degree murder in Massachusetts is? Yes. Do I know the punishment and the time in prison for committing perjury in a murder trial? Yeah, I do. Do I know the prison time that is allotted for people who suborn perjury, Alan Jackson and David Unity? Yeah, I do. I do, because I educate myself on things that I don't know. And I hope the majority of America does that, because the depravity of humanity that I've seen lately in the last few years scares the living bejesus out of me. It truly does. It makes me want to go up in a mountain with my dogs and never interact with humans again. But then I have conversations with pretty amazing people, and then restores my faith long enough to get through until the next breaking point. So again, this is a call to action. This is a please. Hear Roberta out. Change your perspective on why she's doing what she's doing, because she has the purest of intentions. Do you think it's fun for her to fight innocence fraud? Do you think that she gets the kind of viewership that people like FKR people and people that supported whatever other pick a murderer? Do you think that she gets notoriety? Do you think that she's getting rich? Hell no, none of this. She is doing society a favor by informing us of the biggest fraud that is and has been happening for decades in America, that nobody's talking about, that not a single attorney. Look at the attorneys that Kevin knew and had on his show. Wonderful people. They will not call out innocence fraud. They will not call out other attorneys. I mean, we all know that Alan Jackson and David Unity lied to the court, lied to the jury, committed fraud, committed suborned perjury, committed all sorts of RICO acts with the federal government, the people in charge of. I mean, we all know this. So, I mean, I don't understand how attorneys wouldn't know this. They clearly do. But it's like I said, it's like a frat. You're not going to go against your bros. Even if you find what they're doing to be deplorable, you're not going to call it out, because it's a frat bro thing. It's pretty fucking pathetic and sickening, and these are the people that we entrust to do the right thing. They have a lot of power. Just like the people in FKR are like, police officers are held to a higher standard, so he shouldn't be calling a murderer a cunt. Oh, I'm sorry. If a murderer isn't a cunt, I don't know when the more appropriate time would be for that term. I'm not a fan of that term either, but let's be honest. If somebody that you knew got murdered, and you knew who murdered them. I mean, I don't even think Proctor knew John O'Keefe, but he was a police officer, and there again, it's kind of like a bro, like that's one of your own. So, I mean, to say that that is so inappropriate that he should lose his job is fucking psychotic. Like, it is a psychotic way of thinking. It is irrational. It is unjustified. I mean, I don't know how many words I could come up with. It's egregious. It's deplorable. So, point being, Roberta Glass is, as far as I know, one of very few of the most educated people on innocence fraud. She knows how it works. She knows how it works from the inside. She knows probably the best person to get advice on how to fight it. Helping you prepare. All of y'all are going to have to do a deposition, right? And y'all have testified 15,000 times. And we all saw how Alan Jackson fed off of torturing and terrorizing y'all on the stand. You don't think that's going to happen again? And you don't think if your statements are inconsistent that that's going to cause problems for you and the O'Keefes? So if you want justice, then please accept constructive criticism with the intent in which it is the intent in which it is intended doesn't make sense. I mean, it's repetitive, and take it with the sincere, and when I say love, I just mean like a love for humankind, a love for victims, a passion and desire for them to get justice. That is, in my mind, if I had lost a loved one and I was fighting for justice, Roberta Glass I would be talking to her as much as she would give me her ear, like, or give me her words, because I would be having 15,000 ears to listen to what she's saying, to get advice, not do things blindly just because she said so, but to, have conversations with her and refine our thinking on how our best way is fighting this. Like I said, I hope to God the O'Keefe lawyers reach out to her and are talking to her and listening to her podcast. I hope to God they have the balls as attorneys to call out the innocence fraud for what it is. To literally call it out. Because trust me when I tell you, the research that I've done into innocence fraud, it's happening everywhere. And these people that are getting these murderers and rapists out of prison are making billions of dollars. And we as taxpayers are lining the pockets of the corrupt attorneys who are taking dangerous criminals out of prison and releasing them back into our society to reoffend, because recidivism is a very real thing. And if you don't think a murderer is going to get out and kill again, look at what Stephen Avery did. Look at what he did. And I literally thought he was innocent. I mean, it took me a long time to come to that conclusion. All of these people that, I was born in the 80s, so I mean, I grew up with the Menendez trial, the Amanda Knox, all this. Like, I didn't know for sure. And like I said, I'm apolitical, but I'm very liberal in my view on how, I want people to be able to be reformed. I typically give people the benefit of the doubt. But now I'm feeling like I'm having to shift who I am as a human being, because society is not the society that I grew up in. I can't just blindly trust people and truly believe that I'm safe. It's just like there's a lot of dangerous people in this world because of attorneys like Alan Jackson and David United, quite frankly. and people like Josh Levy and Adam Deutsch and Ann Peruti and people that think that they're above the law. And quite frankly, why wouldn't they think that? Nobody's holding them accountable for any of their actions, and they're continuing to commit crimes. Why wouldn't they do it? They're criminals. That's what criminals do. They commit crimes. They pretend like they're attorneys. I mean, they have a law degree, but they're criminals with a law degree. And, you know, I know that Amanda Knox is guilty based on the evidence, based on my own research, based on court documents. So, I mean, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But please go read court documents, the documents like y'all have done for John O'Keefe. Do the same thing with her, because it's blatantly fucking obvious once you read those court documents that she's guilty. Remember how, like, Kate and Twisted Tragedy said that? I remember distinctly at the very beginning of this, of me trying to find truth in what was happening and trying to figure this whole thing out. Those were my two go-tos where I got most of my information. And I remember, I think both of them at one point said individually on their own podcast that, well, Kate never believed it because she just knows Turtle Boy, and the whole thing was she saw through it. Twisted Tragedies was FKR for a long while. Once she got those court docs, she was like, fuck, she's guilty as sin. But my point in this is saying that Amanda Knox has tortured Meredith's family. Now she has her own podcast, I think. She goes on people like Joe Rogan, supports her. She's, who are a couple other, I think, Monica Lewinsky. There was some other lady, I remember she did one recently. But anyway, the point being, that's the same thing. The media is complicit because they profit off of it. And she had a huge $1 million, I don't know how many million. I think they paid $1 million up front, the Knox's family, and they're not rich by, they're middle class family. So they paid $1 million for the PR to put out in America while, the trial was pending. And her dad did that before he even got her an attorney. And he said that was the best money he spent, best decision ever. So, I mean, that tells you right there what that is. But my point is, she's written a book, she's done documentaries, other people have done documentaries, they've done all of these things to try to convince the world that Amanda Knox is innocent. You read the court documents, you know she's guilty. You read Karen Reed's court documents, you know she's guilty. It doesn't get any clearer that those two are guilty. So my point is that I fear Karen Reed is going to be the next Amanda Knox, because even people that support Amanda Knox see how weird she is. Same thing with Karen Reed. How many of her supporters, once things started, the trial was over, and they were not seeing what they thought they should be seeing from her, they started to realize, like, well, I can support her and still believe she's innocent and not like her. That's the majority of the people these days, it seems like. So that's kind of seems how it is with Amanda Knox, too. Like, even people that support her see how her behavior and mannerisms and words that come out of her mouth are just not of a healthy mind. I mean, that's pretty fucking obvious with Karen Reed. So, but the reason I'm comparing the two is because Amanda Knox's entire being, her entire identity, her entire life is her innocence fraud. She does public speaking. She makes, I'm sure, millions of dollars doing the things that she does, claiming, still to this day, wrongfully convicted. No, she was not wrongfully convicted at all. The court that actually released her and, acquitted her said in their papers, her blood is mixed with Meredith's blood. She was at the scene of the crime when they're placing her at the scene of the crime when the murder occurred. And the reason that Roberta thinks that this happened, which based on what she's told us through her podcast, is that it was political. She had presidential support, it seems, and the government in Italy was strong-armed into making a judicial finding in a superior court decision that they were just going to throw out all the DNA evidence. Like, I'm sorry, there was no legitimate reason to do that at all. And so, therefore, she was set free. And she talks about Meredith's family. She has gone to Meredith's grave. She has disrespected them in every way possible, and she will continue to until the day she dies. It's who she is. It's her entire being. And so that's what I see Karen Read doing. Her entire identity now is this innocence fraud. She gets off on the power. She gets off on the fact that people know she killed John and don't care. She brags about it at every chance she can. She constantly has duping delight when she talks about her actions and inactions and him. Basically, she talks about hitting him while smiling. She smiled and snickered and giggled and flirted with Alan Jackson while John's autopsy photos were shown. Give me a break that people don't see this. I'm sorry, you see it. If you're looking with your eyeballs, you see it. You just maybe want to be deluded so you don't allow yourself to know it. You just suffer from amnesia. It's like 50 first dates with FKR every day. They just got called out for fraud on the court. They gave Alan Jackson time to get an attorney, which I'm sure he didn't bring his attorney into the courtroom because obviously that would be bad optics, but I'm sure that attorney was on standby. If it wasn't, Robert Alessi was basically his attorney up there fucking for 8 hours talking about nothing and lying and making things seem different than they are, just like everything that they do. I'm deliriously tired, so I'm probably gonna stop this. But I'm begging you all. I come in love. I come in peace. I come in solidarity. I come in, please, please, do what's right for the O'Keefes and the other victims. And I'm asking you to think about considering the purpose of why Roberta would do and say an innocence fraud watch, who apparently most of you have blocked, which I don't get it. These people, Roberta Glass and Innocence Fraud Watch, have given you documented proof of so much. All of it. Anybody that wants to read it and listen to it can see documented proof of the things that they say. And you may not like their delivery, but their delivery is your expectation that you're putting on somebody else who is trying to help the victims. That is their entire purpose. They want to help the victims. So whether you like the delivery or the approach or what they say and how they say it, to me, that's the most shocking part. Y'all are very much mature adults. And I would think that you would welcome constructive criticism. If you get something wrong, if you don't see it from maybe the way that maybe you might shift to see it, if somebody asks you, let's consider this. Why are you rejecting that? That is not helpful for the O'Keefes. It is not helpful to block and disrespect and take down people who are trying to help the O'Keefes. And again, like I said, Roberta has a decade of experience with this. We all have, however long we've been fighting for the O'Keefes in this particular case. We don't, as far as I know, I can only speak for myself, I guess, but based on what I've read and heard of the people that I'm talking to right now, I don't think you've dealt with innocence fraud before. This is the first time. It's astonishing, it's shocking, it's stomach turning. There was no way that any of us could have imagined that she would be acquitted because the evidence is so overwhelming. What does it take for y'all to see that she knows what she's talking about? And so does Innocence Fraud Watch. They are trying to help. Help, help, help. That is what they're doing. Please reconsider. Please stay pissed at the media and call them out. Continue to do that, Kate. You're a hero for that. Don't let them stonewall you. Make them give you an answer. Seriously. Because I don't want to have to drive to Massachusetts. That's going to be a long drive. And please take constructive criticism for the benefit of the victims. All of the victims of fucking killer Karen Read. And there's a lot. And we all want justice for them. And we all have our strengths and weaknesses. But please don't harm people who are trying to help the O'Keefes. And again, I point out the fact that you see the kind of engagement they get for speaking truth. All they're doing is speaking truth. And y'all have blocked a lot of people on your social media because you're trying to speak truth and FKR doesn't like it and they come at you and say ridiculous things. Okay? Now, think about this. You're blocking people who aren't coming at you, but are saying things that don't agree with the way that you see something, but they're showing you receipts for what they're saying. How is that not helpful to you? How do you get defensive about that? How is that mean? How is that not on the same side? Like, help me I'm genuinely asking. Again, my questions are not rhetorical. I have asked, I don't know how many times I've written on social media in the last 2 weeks. Please, let's discuss this. Help me understand how you think she didn't have intent to at least harm and or even scare John. That is intent. Whatever the outcome was, it was. And it unfortunately ended in murder. I want to understand why y'all keep making excuses for her. And Kate, please stay pissed. Please continue to see and call out the truth about killer Karen Read. And don't make excuses for her. And don't talk about, well, people get drunk and they fight and this, we all might do something like that. Do you honestly think that you would throw your car in reverse in such a reckless way, drunk, and throttle it backwards towards your partner? Do you honestly think that you would do that? Do you think any rational, non-psychotic person would do that? And if you still don't think that she is guilty of murder because she had the intent of slamming the accelerator 75% and rising 70-some feet and rising, then please explain to me, genuinely, I'm asking you to do this, how you don't see that as murder. It is a murder weapon. It is the same thing if I was cleaning a gun and I wasn't being a responsible gun owner and didn't have the safety on and it shot somebody that was sitting next to me, I would be charged with murder. Because it was murder. I mean, I would probably be charged with manslaughter. I don't know. I would think so. If the evidence proved that it wasn't an accident, I would probably be charged with manslaughter because there was no intent there. Okay? There's no intent in me cleaning my gun and accidentally shooting somebody. There was intent in Karen Read driving forward, stopping, and putting it into reverse. That is intentional. And if you accidentally go backwards at any speed, I don't know if there's a person alive who hasn't accidentally put their car in reverse and pushed on the gas a little too hard and maybe got up to, I don't know, 3 to 5 miles per hour and like, oh, fuck. I mean, how quickly do you stop? It's like seconds, right? You don't get that far, even at that speed, because that's 5 miles an hour in reverse is fast. So we've got to hold her accountable 100% in the civil trial. And the O'Keefes and the Proctors and the McCabes and the Alberts and the Roberts and whoever the fuck else, Tully and Buchanan, the whole frickin' city of Massachusetts needs our help. They need us to bring 100% truth, not fantastical fairy. Oh, that's what it was. This is what it was. I couldn't remember what Kevin got upset about. I think. I don't know if he was. He didn't say he was upset, but the way he reacted is that, oh shit, I lost it again. I'm so tired. I said, what the hell did I say? Oh, it's because, okay, so a big reason why I think a lot of us appreciate Kevin is because he does look at things very objectively. He's not emotional about it. I mean, I can't not be emotional about this case anymore. I haven't been able to for a long time. I mean, I understand that I'm emotional about it. And I'm not objective. I mean, I can be objective if somebody has a legitimate question and things like that, like, and wants to discuss things. I would welcome that with open arms. But the thing that irritates me is things like this where he says, well, I mean, we can't prove that. Why, Kevin? And again, it's because that's like FKR mentality to me of why can't we prove that? Because we don't have video of it? Like, how would you ever prove that? How would you ever prove that a husband shot his wife and, maybe it looked like an accident, but it wasn't an accident, and they found evidence that pointed to the fact that it wasn't an accident? Are you going to say, well, we can't know that for sure because we aren't in his mind, which is a lot of that's what I hear a lot from you, is like, we aren't in Karen Read's mind, so we can't make that determination. Juries make that determination all over the United States every fucking day, Kevin. Because, I mean, I don't know when the last time a murder was brought into trial on videotape. I don't think that they would waste their time and energy hiring an attorney. I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious. If it's on videotape, it's right there. So, yeah, you have data and you connect the dots just like you do for all of the other data, but for some reason, you won't go so far as to say, clearly, this was intentional. If she drove forward, put her car in reverse, drove back, all this stuff, that was intentional. Help me understand how you don't find that intentional. Those are intentional acts. Even brother counsel said, if you accept all of that data and you want to believe Karen Read is guilty, there's no doubt in my mind that's intentional. If they prove that, that's intentional. So this is brother counsel saying this. So I don't understand how these other people are making arguments that she should have been convicted on manslaughter but not murder and she was overcharged and stuff. Because if you believe that, he says, that's intent. How do you get around intent? And this is, again, one of the most ardent supporters. So when I confront people that know she's guilty with that, it's crickets. It's like me trying to engage with FKR. I feel like I'm like, did they block me? Did they mute me? These people that I have completely respected and appreciated and admired and helped and tried to help for years now, or close to, I don't know how long I've been on Twitter, not probably a little over a year and a half. But I wonder that because a lot of engagement has stopped with them, and I don't know why. And it's been since I've been putting out videos asking them, help me understand this. I don't get any responses from the people that I'm trying to have conversations with. Because I literally say, if you know Karen Read's guilty, but you don't find that she's guilty of murder, how do you get there? I want to have a discussion about this. Crickets. Why, guys? What is the deal with that? Why will you not discuss that with somebody who you know appreciates and respects you? That's FKR behavior. And to me, it's because they won't engage with me because they can't fight the evidence. They know that I have the truth and the evidence and the facts, right? And they can't fight that because it's so obvious she's guilty. So they can spin their little tails in all their channels that they're never confronted with. They never have guests on that have different viewpoints. Or I shouldn't say never, very rarely. A couple people did. Seems like the only people they'll have on is Kevin. And one time Kate, I know, went with Kevin to Brother Council. But I've asked many times. And when I first came onto the scene, I was constantly trying to get people on YouTube to have discourse with me. And I was always respectful to them. And they were disrespectful, blocked me, muted me, all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. So that's what I want to understand. Because if you continue to fight Karen Read with a half-truth, which is, that half-truth is that she's guilty of manslaughter and not murder. No, she's guilty of murder. And it was proven in a court of law. The jury didn't get it right. I don't think it was even a matter of not getting it right. The jury intentionally knew what they were doing. To me. Most of them. Or at least, I shouldn't say most of them, at least 2 to 3 that were clearly running that room knew exactly what they were doing. And it sounds to me like they hid a piece of evidence that one of the jurors wanted to see but couldn't find. And she said, I'm not comfortable making a decision if I don't see this piece of evidence. She didn't tell us what the evidence was. And somehow, none of the 12 jurors were able to find this piece of evidence. And nobody asked, sent a note out to ask the judge or a bailiff or whoever. I don't know how that works in a jury room because I've never been in one. But, you can ask questions. I'm looking for this piece of evidence. Can you help? Nobody did that. And then she went ahead just because they couldn't fight. Supposedly couldn't find it. She went ahead and made the decision. I mean, she said this in an interview. So that's pretty fucking suspicious to me. I could go on and on. I've already been on too long. I'm exhausted. Please, guys, I'm begging you. Interact with us. Interact with us, please. Have conversations with us. Because if we don't fight this with 100% truth, and if we're scared for some odd reason that I can't figure out why you would be literally making excuses for her, then the O'Keeffes don't have a chance here either in the civil case. The most powerful voices, Kevin and Kate and Tuesday Gazette and Julie, the forensic room ladies, those are the most powerful voices. Those are the people that people like me go to get information that is honest and truthful. But if y'all don't acknowledge the intent and her behavior and her psychoticness, or if you feel more comfortable calling it sociopathic, that's fine. But identify it and talk about it and be 100% real with objectively looking at that. If you still don't agree with the fact that that was intent, then please let's discuss it, because I want to know how you don't see intent, and I would hope you want to know how I, and probably I would assume the O'Keefes and John's closest friends do see intent. I would think. And again, maybe I'm not saying she intended to murder him, but I'm saying she intended to teach him a lesson. She wrote it herself. She was saying that the McAlberts wanted to teach John a lesson. That's what the text was. Shouldn't say those names, but that was the implication, obviously. She wasn't telling on herself. But, as we all know, what gaslighting is a reversal. Defend, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. So we all know that that was her intent. Just like her saying, he didn't look mortally wounded. Really, Karen? Did you see him? I mean, and that was when you dropped him off. That's literally... And Kevin to this day says that was spliced. And I don't get that either. I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious. And I don't think Dateline would go that far. I mean, most of these companies were basically on her side, right? So, like, they weren't trying to make her look bad, that's for sure. So why would they splice that together? I mean, they would obviously all hear that before they put it out into the public domain and say, holy shit, like, we can't do that. That's, we're going to get a lot of backlash for that, because I'm sure they knew FKR. So I'm just saying, I don't get the excuses from the people that know she's guilty. And I really hope that it stops, and that all of you that have dedicated many years of your lives to helping the O'Keefes listen to people that have over a decade of experience fighting the very thing that the O'Keefes and the McCabes and the Alberts et al. Are fighting. Please. Take a beat and come back to the table with an open and objective mind to help the O'Keefes. That's all of us want to do. Please, and please do not be spiteful and do things. Do you know how much information is on Roberta's channel about what this truly is? I mean, I was just thinking how many victims that would affect to lose her channel and her voice and all of her videos and information that's in the public domain to educate themselves, because I sure as fuck didn't know innocence fraud was a thing. But once you see it, like Roberta says, it's blatant. Karen Reed is not the first person to do this, and she will not be the last. Please listen to people with experience. Please have constructive conversations with everybody that wants to help the O'Keefes. Please accept constructive criticism as an act of love and a desire to help. And if you think somebody's doing something rude, you don't have to talk to anybody like the FKR crowd talks to people. Come at it objectively. And that's the thing. I mean, you get to a point, I get that. You get to a point where sometimes you're just like, fuck off. Like, you just... I can be guilty of that. I'm actually pretty good about catching myself because of my profession and other things in my life that have taught me when something occurs and I'm super pissed and I want to snap back, that I need to take a beat, at least 24 hours to calm and then come at it. Because coming at something when you're already pissed, you're never going to be objective. It's impossible if you're already pissed. So you got to get that being pissed down to a stable level of irritated or angry or upset or something. Like, you got to get it down a little bit before you can have constructive conversations about the situation. And like I said, go listen to Roberta's content. Pick a different case and listen. Educate yourselves. I would think that y'all would want. Like I said at the beginning of this, if I had a loved one, I would be begging Roberta for constructive criticism. I would be begging Roberta to give me advice. I would be begging Roberta and Innocence Fraud Watch to, keep putting information out, keep digging, keep helping me if I have a time wrong here, if I have a video wrong there, whatever. Like, point that out to me. I love how Innocence Fraud Watch she posts questions. So, and I'm saying I've heard people come at Roberta for that too. Roberta has a short of Innocence Fraud Watch. I think she has it pinned on her page too on X of Innocence Fraud Watch. And again, ask yourselves, why would she hide who she is? She has no reason to be putting out a blog and then not taking credit for said blog. I don't understand the mentality of where it seems like what people who think that that's her think is that she does that because then it gives an appearance of her having the same views as somebody else or having support in the things that she says or something. That's the best thing I can make out of why people think that that would be such a bad thing, which I get that to a degree, but don't you want people fighting innocence fraud? Isn't that why we're all so pissed? These two have been doing this for, like I said, I don't know how long Innocence Fraud Watch has, but I know Roberta's done it for a decade at least, based on her content. I mean, these are the people. Tell me what benefit she would have from that. I mean, she doesn't, either of them don't get constant backlash for speaking truth, blunt as they can be. I mean, Innocence Fraud Watch is way more blunt than Roberta. I think Roberta kind of becomes numb to stuff because she's been fighting it so long that sometimes she probably doesn't hear how it's coming out. But she's very receptive to people if you say, oh, did you mean it this way? Or help me understand what you meant by that. She's going to make it clear that she was not being mean. She was genuinely asking a question. And that's what Innocence Fraud Watch does at the end of her blogs. Those are important questions that need answers. So to block them and take action against them that is detrimental to them helping victims, I don't get it. So, I don't know. I appreciate all of you. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. And I appreciate constructive criticism, so please give me all the constructive criticism possible. I know there are going to be people that are complete dicks, and that's never going to change, but I don't want to be I don't want to be surrounded by people who I don't like being around yes men, you know what I mean? Just because I say it and I'm passionate about it doesn't mean that's right or wrong or anything. And if I'm doing something in such a way that it's not being received well, I want to know that. that's helpful to not only me, but the people that I'm trying to help. If I'm not being received in a way that's beneficial to, like, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to help. And so if it's not helpful, it would be very beneficial to know that it's not helpful, and then to understand why people that aren't finding it helpful are finding it as such, and suggestions on how I can fix it, or, having dialogue about that. Like, please. And everybody that loves, I mean, I think we've all kind of come to love the O'Keefes. Let's all please work together and respect each other, and not assume that because somebody says something that you might find it comes across a certain way, don't just jump to the conclusion that that is how they meant it, without giving them deference to understand that could just be your perception. Again, this is all about communication. And social media, I mean, I don't know how many times I've written emails and written on social media and say things like that. Like, things come across a lot differently in writing because you can't see the person, you can't see their body language, you can't see the expressions on their faces. I mean, all of this. So, I mean, if I say something or ask a question, a lot of times I feel like people think that I'm being a dick. And so I have to say, this is in writing. I appreciate the fact that this could be taken one way, but here's how I mean it. I literally preface things that way, and I have for 15, 20 years, because I know that a lot of miscommunication, and look at how people communicate these days. What do you think is the biggest way people communicate? Social media. Do you see that all the people that are communicating? The content creator is the only one you see on, like, YouTube. On X, you typically don't see the, if you're on Spaces or whatever. Like, so we don't have any of that. And that's the majority of how people, that's really truly how people now communicate. And so if we don't understand that things could sound a certain way and people might not mean it that way, and also being treated like shit, like all of us have by FKR, I mean, it's a lot. So I think we get to a point where it's hard not to assume people are gaslighting and being dicks and saying something in a way that's mean, just because that's how Twitter especially is. I mean, it is a cesspool, let's be honest. But anyway, very long-winded. Hopefully it helps somebody. And I hope that I get some communication from some of you soon. I have pure intentions and all the love in my heart for all of y'all. I appreciate all of y'all. So please know that. And I have been trying to do a Spaces. I've had a couple of requests, and I don't know why my phone must not be updated enough. Like, I'm gonna have to uninstall and reinstall X, I think, because when I push the compose button down, I'm supposed to apparently get an icon for a space to set up, and my phone does not do that. So Grok suggested that I reinstall Twitter or X. So if that doesn't work, I don't know what it is. So anywho, I'm gonna probably just clip the end of this to put on X, just because I'm hoping that Kevin and Kate and Tuesday and Mama Llama and Julie and Jams and, many, many others, but I'm hoping that y'all listen with an open heart and hear what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, what my intention is. Very pure, and it is out of pure love and appreciation and respect. So, signing off for now, and Love and light to all of y'all. Please just be the change you wish to see in the world. Love y'all, and love and light. Ta-ta for now.